Milk-flavored wine, heard it through the grapevine, presents the young Southpaw part of an hour. Ding! Why weren't they called the Water Beatles, you know? Like if they were going to spend so much time in there. Octopus's garden, I am the walrus. I mean, come on. Heck, if they all live in a yellow submarine, I contest that already makes them Water Beatles. But I guess it's debatable, because, like, they live in the sub, not technically touching the water themselves. But, like, legally, you could argue, I mean, if this ever went to court, that marine means water. And, like, how did they get in there in the first place? Why were they fixing that hole? Could easily come from water damage. Getting bugs in a submarine. That's terrifying, you know? And, like, they weren't a goth band. I wonder if there are any goth Beatles cover bands who change the lyrics to primarily deal with, you know, like being trapped in a yellow or any colored submarine underwater that's full of bugs. I mean, probably make a good horror movie, I would think. Maxwell's Silver Hammer horror films, you know? Maxwell's Demon, make it even scarier. That perpetual motion machine, I mean, talk about sexy. You got that demon sorting the molecules, you know? Look it up. And while you're at it, give Velvet Goldmine another spin. But, you know, Maxwell's Demons, second law of thermodynamics, all that physics stuff, E equals MC squared, you know. MC Hammer, too! Though, please hammer, don't hurt him, doesn't really go with the whole Hammer horror ethos. Though, Stop Hammer Time is the perfect ad campaign. What a complex relationship horror films have always had with early 90s rap. Ice-T, T like the sign of the cross, you know. Warding off vampires. I still didn't see Leprechaun in the Hood coming. Deep Blue Sea. Water again. I mean, you got LL Cool J playing the chef. Why didn't they get Raekwon, you know? And the question that's always been on my mind, why didn't Kid and Play make Haunted House Party? Halloween special, you know? Back to the bugs on the submarine. What if they were all singing Can't Touch This? While the crew is desperately trying to hammer them down? I mean, that'd be especially annoying. And really, because I picture it as like a drone remix, with the sound of flies buzzing playing a prominent part in the track. Heck, get Bugs Bunny involved too! But, you know, a version of Bugs that would be more appropriate to being trapped in a submarine infested with insects. And imagine what the humans are going through, man. Having to deal with not only this humming and crawling of millions of winged critters, but also a sarcastic talking rabbit. Though, oh man, the drama when Bugs, bitten to the bone and unable to fight against this infestation any longer, is finally brought to the infirmary and on his last legs, you know, delivers his famous line, "What's up, Doc?" Only to have that doctor be, you guessed it, Dr. Frankenstein, who Bugs genuinely believes is a specialist in infectious insect diseases. I mean, this leaves room for a sequel, too, you know? The exact same film, but with Dr. Jekyll heading up the onboard hospital. Heckle and Jekyll, remember those cartoons? The Blackbirds, you know? Man, McCartney is swift. And then for the third part of the trilogy, you got Dr. Robert fighting these creatures with a revolver, you know? And Hammer and Bugs, both distributed by Warner Brothers. So of course there should be a crossover. A marriage made in heaven. Or hell, as the case may be. Though perhaps less violent and psychologically damaging than Bugs' own Marriage of Figaro. Throw a sarcophagus on board just to change up the plot a little, you know. Mother Mary comes to me, Mother Mary, Mummy, you know. Because they're British. And with mummies, you always got scarabs. Another type of beetle. I mean, I don't know why scarabs aren't in every horror film. You got scare, right there in the name. And like how the Beatles are here, there, and everywhere, you know, mentioned daily in popular culture. Well, scarabs could be the Beatles of horror films. In My Hour of Darkness, I mean, whoa! Did McCartney compose Let It Be for a horror soundtrack? I mean, Let It Be was a film. Admittedly, not your typical slasher flick. Whoa, and like, when I find myself in times of trouble, I mean, that's the premise for every horror film ever made. It all begins with a spot of bother, you know? Though, man, had they been the Water Beatles, McCartney could have carried this pretty far. Water wings, you know? Have that hit, jet ski, etc., you know the song goes. Red Rose Waterway, Band on the Swim. I mean, they already got Sailor Sam in there. And Rabbits on the Run. And whoa, Christopher Lee's on the cover to Band on the Run. Just put him in a wetsuit. Escaping Alcatraz, you know. That was one of Steve Vai's early bands. Heck, imagine if Hammer put out a film where Paul McCartney and Christopher Lee are trying to escape Steve Vai's hot licks. Crossroads 2, you know? But aquatically. And whoa, the Crossroads soundtrack came out on Warner's too. As did Eat 'Em and Smile. I mean, that could have been a horror title. Combine it with another Warner film, Spies Like Us, for which McCartney wrote the theme tune. I'm not saying he should be in prison for that, let alone maximum security like Alcatraz. But whoa, you know, that line, we get there by hook or by crook? Of course he's talking about pirates. Taking it back to the ocean. No, you know how that Zeppelin song goes. Man, I never noticed how Alcatraz, the band, is spelt with an extra Z. And yet they're not a ZZ Top cover band. But I mean, you need strong legs to make that swim. And oh man, Alcatraz, the prison, is in the Bay Area. Just like where MC Hammer's from. Woo! Bring him in on this, finally reconciling with a rebooted Hammer horror franchise. I mean, of course he's too legit to quit. And we're talking about the legal system, what with Alcatraz and all. But of course with like vampire pirates and Steve Vai blasting fireballs off the neck of his guitar, from the crow's nest. With Heckle and Dr. Jekyll, of course. Christopher Lee's Dracula's taking control of the island, just like in The Man with the Golden Gun. Woo! The Man with the Golden Slumbers, I mean, maybe he's narcoleptic. That's his Achilles heel. Got McCartney holed up writing tunes while his lawyer, played by MC Hammer, of course, is feverishly working on his case on the mainland. But while all that's going on, Mac is secretly working on plans to morph into a bug and escape. Opening scene, he's like reading Kafka for some foreshadowing. Heck, get Clint Eastwood and Patrick McGoohan in it too, if we're on Alcatraz. And of course Iron Maiden if we're talking about The Prisoner. Heck, this has the makings of the greatest horror film ever made. Get Bugs Bunny to pop out of a real Iron Maiden, completely unscathed, all healed from any signs of insect-ridden disease, and then, delivering his famous line, "What's up, Doc?" But in a way that makes you think this has been a documentary all along.